Wait, let's get another take now, and I want to welcome Mudar Zahran. He's the Secretary General of the Jordanian Opposition Coalition. Thank you so much for joining us, Mudar, and let's get straight to it. Is Abbas a valid representative of the will of the Palestinian people?
Abbas does not represent the Palestinian people, nor does the Palestinian Authority, which is a de facto dictatorship, nor does Hamas, nor does any of those so-called leaders of the Palestinians who are out of touch, have not been elected by anyone, and do not have the interests of either the Palestinians or Israelis at heart. We appreciate the president's effort, and we actually appreciate President Trump's dedication to peace. Nonetheless, I'm sure the presidents already know that he is inviting the wrong people to the table because they don't have any good intentions. They have thrived on war. Both Hamas and Abbas have thrived on war. Why should they seek peace? Why should they end the good business they've been having for a few decades?
So, Mudar, if these are the wrong people, who are the right people? Who should any kind of peace deal be negotiated with?
Well, we Jordanians and Palestinians, which we are the same people, the bigger question here above who should we bring in is where is Jordan from all of this? Jordan is 78% of historical Palestine. Jordan is where 6.1 million Jordanians of Palestinian heritage live. All of the Palestinians in the West Bank hold Jordanian passports, including Abbas himself and his family. So does many Gazans. The question is, where is Jordan? Unless Jordan's brought into this, unless the concept of establishing self-determination of Jordanians in Jordan as the original Faisal-Weizmann agreement, where we got 78% of the land and Jews got 22% of the land, unless that happens, there will never be peace. I call this the war process, not the peace process. And you know why? The only reason I feel optimistic is President Trump is not going to take any nonsense from either Abbas, Jordan's king, or Hamas. If you ask me, I, Mudar Zahran, Secretary General of the Jordanian Opposition Coalition, I represent 6 million Palestinians in Jordan. I am much more, I have the merit to discuss peace for my people over someone like Abbas.
Do you think that
Palestinian does? Who is Abbas, really?
Do you think that any state will or should include Jordan? Is that what you're saying, that for this to be any kind of viable peace process, that Jordan really needs to be a big part of this?
Question. There are reports which you can find online of reliable sources confirming that several intelligence communities in the West and Israel believe that the Jordanian kingdom or the Jordanian royal family is going to fall sooner or later. It could be a year, it could be 20 years, but so by then we will have the majority elected in Jordanian and Palestinian heritage. How many states are we, Jordanians and Palestinians, are going to have? Are we going to have one in Jordan, one in the West Bank, one in Gaza? How about one in Queens?
Many would agree with that point, Mudar. In the meantime, though, the reality is that Abbas does seem to be representing the Palestinian people. Whether he represents their will is another question. And he seems to be pushing for more authority over the Gaza Strip. He wants to try and consolidate power there. Do you think he's going to succeed? Do you see Fatah and Abbas taking over the Gaza Strip from Hamas?
I don't see that happening. I see Abbas and Hamas doing what they have been doing best, which is playing double jeopardy with Palestinian blood, making us kill Jews and kill ourselves. And they're both Hamas and Abbas thriving in Switzerland and Qatar and elsewhere. This is against human rights. This is a violation of all values of sanity, and it's an unfair situation for Palestinians, Jordanians, and Israelis. It's about time we call it quits, and it's about time that the president, and I'm confident President Trump and his advisor Jared Kushner, who knows the area very well, are not going to take any nonsense from those people. So let's look forward to change. I expect the president to make some change because he's a businessman. He won't invest too much time in a failure project. He's going to see that very quickly, and he's going to move with change, which will most likely involve Jordan.
Well, in the meantime, Hamas has a new charter out. It's trying to get more international recognition, if you will. Do you think that this is being achieved? Do you see anything significantly different, given that the goals and the eventual liberation are still there, they still are saying that they want to take over what is Israel.
There is no difference for Hamas. I need to remind everyone of a piece of information most people don't realize. Hamas is called the Palestine chapter of Jordan's Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas is controlled by Jordan's Muslim Brotherhood, which is, in a different subject, controlled by Jordan's intelligence desk. So you are dealing with someone who doesn't have an entity that doesn't own its own destiny. And this charter was just a way, a method to contribute into against the push by the president of the United States to ban the entire Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas. It's just a smoke screen. Nothing has changed. And Hamas has no interest at heart in seeing either the Palestinians or the Jordanians and Israelis making any peace.
So, Mudar, what is the proposed solution then? How do we negotiate a peace settlement that is representative of the will of the Palestinian people in this scenario? Do you think, you say Trump is a businessman, you think he wants to not waste his time, do you think that the U.S. should push for democratic elections in Gaza and the West Bank and get a leader from that?
We are very realistic. We're not calling for democracy to be dropped on us. This is like giving a Rolls Royce to a 14-year-old. We're asking for gradual democratic introduction and actually recognizing all of those who support terror for what they really are. Jordan's king, who claims to be moderate, supports terror. It's not humanity. He sells weapons to ISIS. Don't call this crazy. Go use the internet. In the age of Google, you learn a lot. Anyone watching me here, just Google that. Hamas is a terrorist organization. The Palestinian Authority is a corrupt organization which is deeply hated by the Palestinians. We have to rule those people out, send them to where they belong, maybe Abu Mazen to his $30 million palace in Morocco, and Hamas to their mansions in Qatar, and Jordan's king to his real estate in France, and then we can start a new chapter.
But how do you propose doing this? How do you propose doing this?
Those people exist. They rule only because of U.S. tolerance and support, which was extremely lavish during Obama's time. Obama was very supportive of those terror groups. Obama was very tolerant of them and, in fact, in bed with them when it comes to the Muslim Brotherhood. Now we have a new sheriff in town who's going to crack down on those people, who's going to stop their funding, who's going to cut their funding. They exist because you allow them to exist. It's almost like a sensual press button. Who finances Hamas and its rockets? Qatar. Who finances the Palestinian Authority? Right. Your tax dollars. Who finances Jordan's king? Your tax dollars. So it's you're in control, guys. You just need to press the right button.
Some very interesting thoughts and opinions. Mudar Zahran, thank you so much for joining us. Well, meanwhile,